I'm a 28-year-old guy, and I've been dating my girlfriend, she's 25, for the past 8 months. From the very beginning, it was clear that she had a super tight-knit group of girlfriends she's been close with since high school. She runs everything by them, literally doesn't make a single decision without their input. We first met about a year ago at a work event. I was really into her right away and asked her out more than a few times before she finally agreed. Later on, I found out the reason she kept saying no at first was because she was waiting for her friends to give her the green light. I remember thinking that was kind of odd that she couldn't even go on one date without her friend's blessing, but she explained that this was just how things worked in her circle. So, I let it go. Eventually, I got to meet her friends. They seemed like decent people, friendly, polite, didn't give me any bad vibes. I figured they were just trying to look out for her, and honestly, if it worked for her, I didn't want to rock the boat. A couple of weeks back, she mentioned something she'd always dreamed about, going on a beach trip with someone she was in love with. She said it had never worked out for one reason or another. Since her birthday was coming up, I thought it'd be the perfect opportunity to make that dream come true. I went all out, planned the whole thing, booked a beachfront resort, and even scheduled a spa day for her. I didn't tell her about any of it because I wanted it to be a surprise, and I'm usually awful at keeping secrets, but this time I held it together. I was so excited, not just for her, but for both of us. It was going to be our first big memory as a couple. But then, just a few days before her birthday, she sat me down and said she'd rather go clubbing with her friends. Apparently, they'd been organizing a night out for weeks. She promised she'd make it up to me later. I asked her if maybe her friends could take her out another night, but she was firm. She said she personally wanted to spend her birthday with them and hoped I wouldn't take it personally. Of course, I did. That stung. I tried to reason with her, but she got irritated and told me flat out that she wasn't changing her plans. She said I needed to deal with it and move on. I felt crushed by how blunt she was. I'd been putting so much effort into this trip just to make her feel special. So, out of frustration, I canceled everything. Lost some money in the process, sure, but at that point, I didn't care. I was hurt. Genuinely upset that she didn't want to spend her birthday with me. I get that she's had these friends forever. I'm not trying to compete. But I'm her boyfriend. I was hoping I'd be the one she wanted to celebrate with. And it's not like I've ever tried to pull her away from them. She hangs out with them every weekend, and I've never complained. I just wanted this one day to be about us. So yeah, I canceled the trip and didn't bother saying a word to her about it. I figured there was no point anymore. The whole surprise was ruined. Her birthday came and went, she partied with her friends, and they looked like they had a blast. My friends said it was kind of strange that she didn't spend her day with me, but I kept my mouth shut. I just stayed upset in silence. The next day, she came over like nothing had happened. She was all smiles, laughing about how drunk her friends got her, going on about how much fun they had. She didn't seem to notice how out of it I was. I did my best to pretend I was okay, but after a while, I could feel the emotions boiling up. I was this close to crying, but I didn't want to fall apart in front of her, so I told her I needed to step away for a minute. I went to the bathroom, splashed some water on my face, trying to calm myself down. I wanted to talk to her, really talk to her, about how left out and overlooked I'd been feeling. I just didn't want to come across as needy or insecure. When I walked back into the room, the mood had totally shifted. She was holding my phone, looking serious. Turned out the resort I booked had sent a cancellation message, confirming the refund. She'd seen it. And instead of looking touched or surprised, she looked mad. Really mad. Before I could say anything, she shoved my phone at me and demanded to know why I'd canceled her birthday getaway. I stayed calm and told her the truth. I'd canceled it the day she made it clear she'd rather go out with her friends. But instead of understanding, she completely lost it. She yelled at me, saying I'd ruined her birthday and acted childish. She said I should have told her about the plan so she could have at least considered going. I was confused. Wasn't the whole point of a surprise that you don't tell the person? I reminded her that I had asked her to spend the day with me, and she flat out refused, even got mad when I kept pushing. That only made her angrier. She doubled down, calling me selfish and immature, saying I ruined her birthday on purpose. So I pushed back. I told her that if she'd just given me the chance, she would have seen how much thought I put into it. I said it wasn't fair to blame me when she was the one who didn't even try to make time for us. Then I said something that really got to her. I told her she needed to grow up and stop acting like she and her friends were still living in a high school bubble. She didn't take that well. She called me a jerk and walked out in tears. It's been about 2 hours since she left, and at first, I felt relieved, like I'd finally said everything I'd been holding in. But now I feel like absolute crap. I keep replaying her walking out, crying, and I feel horrible. Deep down, I know I didn't do anything wrong, but that doesn't make it any easier. I just really care about her, and outside of this one issue with her friends, she's honestly amazing. I admire her loyalty, I do. It shows she's someone who values the people in her life. But sometimes, it just feels like I come second to them, and it hurts. I think anyone in my shoes would feel the same way. Still, I'm starting to wonder if I messed this up. Maybe I reacted too quickly and said things I shouldn't have. I thought letting it all out would make me feel better, but it didn't. Now I'm just stuck, confused, unsure of what to do. A part of me wants to just apologize and smooth things over. But another part of me keeps asking, why should I be the one to say sorry when I didn't cause the problem? She always puts her friends first, and even if she's known them longer than she's known me, that doesn't make it any less painful. I'm scared that if I don't figure this out soon, I might lose her for good. I really don't want to lose her, but I'm also not ready to say sorry when I don't feel like I did anything wrong. That's honestly why I'm here. I need to figure out if I messed up by canceling the beach trip I had planned for her birthday after she flat out told me she'd rather spend the day with her friends. Update 1: It's been a full day since that argument, and this is probably the longest we've ever gone without talking to each other. It feels weird, off, but I'm still not reaching out first. If she's waiting for me to apologize, she'll be waiting a while, because I've gone over everything in my head and I just don't see how I'm the one at fault. But it looks like she's already told her friends what happened. A few minutes ago, I hopped on social media and noticed something strange. Some of her friends had straight up blocked me. The ones who didn't block me were posting vague quotes and photos of themselves with her, throwing shade with captions like "you deserve better." It was pretty obvious who they were talking about. Seeing that really got under my skin. Instead of helping her see things clearly, they're encouraging her to play the victim, acting like she's been wronged, when really she's just dealing with the fallout of a decision she made. What bothers me most is that these same girls were always polite and pleasant to me when we hung out. Now they've suddenly flipped the script, turning me into the villain like they don't know who I am. If they were truly good friends, if they really wanted what's best for her, they would have told her that she messed up this time, and that I had every reason to feel let down. But no, they're just feeding her this narrative that I'm toxic or controlling or something. It's disgusting. And to be honest, the more I think about it, the more it seems like they never wanted her to have a serious relationship in the first place. There are 7 of them in that group, and not one has been in a stable relationship for longer than 3 months. I'm not judging them for it, it's just something I always found odd. It made me wonder why none of them could make things last. I've never been the kind of guy to walk away just because things get tough. When I'm in a relationship, I give it my all before I even think about breaking things off. So when I see people encouraging her to end it just because of one disagreement, it's baffling. Sure, my girlfriend and I have had our share of small fights and differences, but we've always managed to sort them out. And I don't think she's ever told her friends about those arguments before. I guess now I know why, because the minute she did, they'd tell her to dump me. No room for growth, no chance at compromise. I don't want to break up with her. I still want to work through this. But if she listens to them and decides to walk away, that's on her. I'll be heartbroken, yeah. But at least I'll know I stayed true to myself and didn't fold under pressure. Update 2: It's been 3 days since I last posted 3 days of silence between us. After realizing her friends had likely turned on me and were pushing her to break up, I figured we were done. I'd basically accepted it. I was feeling low, so I took the day off work today. I planned to just sit around, watch some dumb show, and try to distract myself from the ache in my chest. Then out of nowhere, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone, so I figured it was a delivery or something. But when I opened the door, there she was, my girlfriend, standing there with a bouquet of flowers and a box of my favorite chocolates. I was stunned. I didn't even know what to say. I've never been on the receiving end of a grand apology like that in a relationship before. As a guy, I'm usually the one making the effort. So for her to show up like that, it just froze me. I let her in, still speechless. The room was thick with awkward silence until she finally blurted out an apology. She said she was truly sorry for how things went down and that she still wanted to be with me if I'd have her. She didn't even let me respond before she started explaining what happened. After our fight, she went straight to a friend's place. They'd already planned a brunch, so she just showed up early. Once she got there, she told them everything, and just like I suspected, they completely flipped out. They told her to dump me, and not just that, they started attacking me personally, making fun of my height and how I look. Then one of them, get this, suggested that she go on a date with another guy just to get back at me. And that's when things finally clicked for her. She realized that what her friend was proposing wasn't just immature, it was full-on emotional manipulation. She was shocked, but even more stunned when the rest of the group actually agreed. They told her they'd done it before and that it always worked to get the guy to apologize. She said it was the first time she'd opened up to her friends about a serious issue in her relationship, and what she got back was cruel advice and underhanded tactics. It opened her eyes. She told them no, she didn't want to play games like that, and instead of supporting her, they mocked her. Said she was being weak and soft-hearted. They told her that being submissive was why I supposedly felt comfortable treating her badly, which is ridiculous. This is her first serious adult relationship. Before me, her only real boyfriend was back in high school, and that ended when he cheated on her in college. Since then, she avoided commitment, mostly flings, nothing real, partly due to trust issues, and partly because her friends never approved of anyone. So what we have, it's a big deal for her. She told me that even though we've only been together for 8 months, she feels more attached to me than she expected. Watching her friends laugh about the whole thing, treat it like some game, and post stuff just to mess with me, that's when it all hit her. They weren't helping. They were sabotaging. She started thinking about how none of them could stay in relationships either, and realized maybe they weren't exactly fountains of good advice. She actually told them that she wanted to fix things with me and apologize. And instead of supporting that, they told her it would make her look weak. They said if she did that, I'd just walk all over her. She tried to reason with them, tried to explain that apologizing when you know you're wrong isn't weakness. It's maturity. But they wouldn't hear it. They got mad. And finally, they gave her an ultimatum. She could either stay their friend or go crawling back to me. That was the exact phrase they used. I couldn't believe it. It was harsh, manipulative, and honestly kind of scary. And now I understood just how much pressure she was under. She wanted to make things right with me, but she was terrified of losing the people she'd leaned on for years. She doesn't really have much of a support system outside that friend group, which is why it took her a couple of days to come around. She told me she spent those 2 days crying in her room, feeling overwhelmed, eating ice cream straight out of the tub because she didn't know what else to do. But when she woke up this morning, something had shifted. Her mind was clear for the first time in days, and she realized that she'd rather be with me even if it meant walking away from the only group of friends she'd ever known. The past couple of days made her see how controlling and toxic they really were. None of them had even bothered to check in on her after their last meetup. They were too busy gossiping about some girl from high school no one even talks to anymore. That's when it finally clicked for her. While she was trying to grow up and move forward in life, they were still stuck acting like the same mean girl clique they'd been back in school. It wasn't cute anymore, it was pathetic. Turns out, I was right about them all along. So when she made up her mind to apologize, it didn't take long. She knew I wasn't perfect, but I was someone who made her feel safe, respected, and cared for, and that was more important than sticking with people who were dragging her down. After that whole speech, I was honestly speechless. For a minute, I just stared at her, taking it all in. Then I pulled her into a hug, and neither of us said a word, we just cried. I think we were both feeling the same thing, relief. Like this massive weight had finally been lifted. That was a few days ago. Since then, we've been spending time together, trying to make up for all the stress and drama. And yes, we've decided to finally go on that beach trip I originally planned. We're leaving next weekend, and we're going to make it even more special than I'd first imagined. Funny how things can turn around like that. Update 3, I thought that would be the end of it, but of course, her friends weren't done. 2 days after we got back together, my girlfriend posted a sweet photo of us on social media. Just a simple selfie with a cute little caption about new beginnings. Within hours, her phone was blowing up. Her ex-friends started calling and texting non-stop, attacking her for breaking girl code and calling her names like weak, naive, and stupid. They even demanded she take the photo down immediately or else they'd cut her off for good. But this time, she didn't flinch. She told them they could go right ahead, and she meant it. That only made them angrier. They kicked her out of the group chat and started blasting her online. I'm talking full-blown hate campaign. They were calling her weak-minded, saying she had no dignity. One of them even posted that she deserved to be cheated on. It was disgusting. Even though she'd blocked them, mutual contacts were still sending her screenshots of the posts and asking what the hell was going on. She was completely overwhelmed. And I hated that there wasn't much I could do to make it stop. I asked her if she wanted me to involve my lawyer, maybe we could take legal action and shut it down. But she said no. She didn't want to escalate things that far, thinking it might just give them more ammo. I respected her decision, of course, but it was hard to watch her go through all that hurt. Those girls, or women, I guess, turned out to be nothing more than cruel bullies with zero empathy or boundaries. I couldn't believe this was how they treated someone they called a friend just 48 hours earlier. Update 4, but my girlfriend? She handled it like a champ. And honestly, I couldn't be more proud of her. Yesterday, after seeing one nasty post too many, she decided she'd had enough. She told me she was done letting them control the narrative and wanted to show everyone exactly what kind of people they really were. She'd saved tons of old texts from that group, messages where they gossiped about everyone from high school, ripped apart people they pretended to be friends with, and generally acted like toxic children. So she gathered all the receipts, took screenshots of the worst stuff, and made a big public post. She tagged every single person her ex-friends had talked trash about, letting them see exactly what had been said behind their backs. She never participated in those conversations herself. She hated that kind of gossip, and most of the people they were mocking had never even done anything to deserve it. The reaction was instant. Within minutes, people from her high school flooded the comments. And they weren't happy. Her old friends suddenly found themselves on the receiving end of the same cruelty they'd dished out for years. She even temporarily unblocked them just to make sure they saw the chaos firsthand. And boy, did it hit them hard. They were flailing, trying to defend themselves, but it was obvious they had no good excuse. Eventually, they added her to a group video call to try and threaten her. They told her she'd regret crossing them, said they'd ruin her reputation and expose her too. That's when I stepped in. I told them flat out, if they tried anything, we'd be involving a lawyer, and this time, we wouldn't back off. They tried to argue, but I shut it down immediately. I called out their petty, childish behavior. I told them they were nothing but wannabe alpha females who were still mooching off their parents and boyfriends, acting like they ran the world when they couldn't even handle real life. I ended it by telling them to grow up, get real jobs, and stop harassing my girlfriend just because they couldn't control her anymore. By that point, I could hear some of them crying, while others tried to deflect by calling my girlfriend a pick-me. But it didn't matter. I hung up the call and blocked them from her phone again. Now that all the drama is finally behind us, we're focused on each other. We're back to planning the trip, and we've decided to go all out, make it even better than what I originally booked. Honestly, after everything we've been through, I think we both earned it.